Next on Community Connections, the MoCo Arts Corridor. What is it? We're going to find out in just a moment. Welcome to Community Connections, produced by the Long Branch Cable Television Commission. I'm Don Swanson, co-chair of the commission and your host this evening. What's important, though, is we have some very interesting people here tonight who've been very much involved in a new initiative in Monmouth County called the MoCo Arts Corridor Partnership. And I think we should find out what it's all about. I will mention who is here first. Jim Hickey, who is the director of the MoCo Arts Corridor, Mary Eileen Fouratt, executive director of Monmouth Arts, and Joe Barris, assistant planning director of Monmouth County. And I think I want to toss this first of all to Jim to simply ask, how did this come about? I know it's fairly new.
The MoCo Arts Corridor Partnership came about with a conversation, actually, about 3 years ago among several people connected to the arts in Monmouth County. MoCo means Monmouth County. And among those people were Mary Eileen and Joe and several others. And we all asked the question, we know we have rich artistic resources in Monmouth County. We are blessed with many theaters, many art galleries. It's just rich in art. But we thought a better job could be done in leveraging the economic power of the arts. Because we know, and there are many, many studies which prove that in a community which embraces the arts in an orderly and cohesive way thrives. And we thought, can we figure out a way to engage the economics of the arts? One thing led to another. I remember talking to Mary Eileen, and I said, you know, it occurs to me that we have this line of cities and towns along the New Jersey rail corridor that have all these arts activities. Of course, the county is full of it, but I was looking at the rail line. And she said, have you read the Monmouth Coastal Plan, which was written in 2010?
It was a bestseller.
It was a bestseller, right. Well, the author of that plan is Joe Barris.
With no royalties. Just the author.
And I will toss it to Joe. Part of his plan was to create, lo and behold, a corridor for the arts. Joe?
Well, I have to thank Mary Eileen, first of all, because the county had undertaken several regional studies in the past. The Coastal Monmouth Plan was the most recent one in 2010. It was my involvement meeting Mary Eileen about arts planning initiatives at a conference we attended where I said, hey, let's get together and see what we can do for each other's efforts. She assigned her people and staff to come work with me on the Bayshore Regional Plan, which was the first initiative to incorporate the arts into a regional plan. That was successful. We brought out a lot of artists and conversations about what the arts community needs to thrive and be sustainable. By the time I got to start work on the Coastal Monmouth Plan, we had already established a great relationship with Monmouth Arts. And so the Monmouth County Planning Board, when we started discovering who would be involved with our working groups, you know, it's usually the basic economics, transportation, housing. We included one for arts and culture. It was probably my most successful group, most engaged, and they brought through that conversation what the arts community needed. And we made sure that the plan was infused, whether it was arts housing. The concept of ACEs came out of that plan, which was our arts, culture, and entertainment centers in the county, and we identified 5. Red Bank, Long Branch, Asbury Park, Belmar, and Manasquan. These were what we considered the hubs, cultural centers for the coastal region.
Along the New Jersey Transit.
Well, we figured you can't lose with 5 aces and a deck of cards, right? So if you have one up your sleeve, you can always be successful some way. But we realized during that process that it wasn't just these centers. They would be maybe the epicenters that people go to, but every community would benefit from the experience of art from these places. And every community in Monmouth County has an artistic representation there. So it was just really identifying the fact that this was an economic sustainability strategy long term. We're so used to looking at the Jersey Shore and the coast for our economic answers, but the reality is and we love it. We love the Jersey Shore, but it's a 3-month season. We were looking at this as how do we build a year-round economy based on the arts and bringing awareness to the arts and making it a destination of choice, which is what we're trying to do.
Mary Eileen, you might want to define for us a little bit about what Monmouth Arts is, because I know that Monmouth Arts is extremely involved all year round. We're not just the Jersey Shore in the summer, right?
Right. Well, we're the county arts agency, even though we're a nonprofit, and we represent 100 nonprofit arts groups that are in the county. The county has over 2,000 creative businesses. The county has over 2,000 artists that live and work here. So we really want to connect the arts community, and as these guys were saying, leverage the power of that community for a lot of different purposes. We do it for education, for community building, and for economic development. And I think, after Hurricane Sandy, the economic development impact of the arts became even more important because we couldn't rely on the beaches so much. And we had towns like Asbury calling us saying, please let people know that even though, we have some devastation on the beachfront, the downtown's still open. We have businesses, that need people to come, restaurants need people to come eat in them. And so we saw that the MoCo Arts Corridor really had an important role to play in that.
So you're saying the storm really created a bit of a different focus.
It brought it, I think, made it more of a priority and I think made us make an even stronger effort.
In fact, when we met after Sandy, we all looked at each other in our MoCo sessions and saying, we now have a more important mission. I mean, our mission is the same, but now it became more urgent. And I just wanted to point out everything that Joe said and Mary Eileen said, the pieces were all there. The planning was there. The art was there. The rail line was there. The people to become involved were there. It was just a matter of us all coming together as a partnership, and that's what we are, a partnership. We're not a committee. We're not a council.
Yeah, it's a very unique organization, so can you kind of define how that came about?
Well, when we first got together and we had representatives from the arts, from tourism, from business, from economic development, from planning, we decided we certainly didn't want to start another nonprofit. But as we saw that as we came together, we could definitely do some things, and we had projects we wanted to do and do marketing and branding for the region. We felt the best thing to do was to stay under Monmouth Arts, and that gives us the freedom to pull all these partners together. We can go for grants, like the National Endowment for the Arts Challenge America grant that we got for this year to do begin to do marketing.
Because Monmouth Arts has the expertise to work for grants.
Right, so we can use our staff, but we're also using the expertise of, the county, of the arts groups who have marketing people.
Transportation and business.
Yeah, the transportation. So it really is, it's a unique partnership, but I think that's what's made it so powerful.
If we were to have a full title, it would be the MoCo Arts Corridor Partnership and Adjunct of Monmouth Arts.
There you go. That's good.
I think that clarifies somewhat, because I know I was intrigued by it initially by the way you had kind of what I thought was a loosely structured system of deciding what was possible. But you got a lot of constituents together from all over Monmouth County,
do,
right?
And I think the success in this is that it's not just artists, it's not just government officials, it's a regional approach, which is unusual in the arts, because usually it's housed in a municipality or in a city government, Philadelphia, New York, people think Cleveland, Pittsburgh. Sure. It's the city that kind of runs the programming. We have almost 40 municipalities that are considered in the Arts Corridor, which would be anything from Matawan to Manasquan, east of the Garden State Parkway. That was not originally in the Coastal Monmouth Plan. It was limited from Red Bank to Manasquan, but it's been so successful a partnership and identifying in the Bayshore from our previous efforts with planning that there's an arts presence in every community, particularly in Keyport, Atlantic Highlands, Middletown. We didn't want to exclude anyone from participating in the regional effectiveness that MoCo could bring. So we've kind of just expanded it out to include the Bayshore communities in the northern part of the county, and it calls upon the need for planners to coordinate, the artists themselves that are very important, the business community, because artists are a lot of the times business owners, and their art is business. Transportation, like you were saying, New Jersey Transit, hotel, restaurants, it's visitors bureau, it's tourism. It takes into a lot of different sectors coming together and bringing their expertise to the table to see how we can move this forward as a group.
In the world of art, this is what Joe is saying, and Mary Eileen, in the world of art, this is called community building.
Right.
And it's a collaborative effort. And you know, we talk about the corridor, of course, the rail line and the Garden State Parkway, but we do not exclude the towns and cities west, Freehold and Colts Neck. We don't exclude them. And I'm proud to say that our idea seems to be catching on, because we recently were featured during a panel discussion at the United Nations, thanks to efforts that Joe made, and perhaps you can explain that. We had a video.
And I think you have something to show us.
I
that
do, we do.
That you screened at the United Nations.
Absolutely.
Why don't you explain what that was?
I'm a board member of the Center for Creative Placemaking in association with Bloomfield College, and we talk about bringing arts, utilizing the arts for economic development, social equity, community development issues. We had an opportunity with Bloomfield College to present a case for conflict resolution with the arts to the United Nations 52nd Annual Commission on Social Development. I was able to talk to them about using MoCo as a case for post-Sandy, also for conflict resolution. We don't have the same issues as, let's say, a Cleveland, Ohio, or a Newark, New Jersey, but we do have citizens that aren't engaged, that need to be engaged in our community on a broader spectrum, and that we, even though we have a, let's say by demographic standard, a high standard of living here, we are looking at long-term sustainability measures to keep our level and expectation going, and that's what the arts can do for us. So we look at it as engaging communities that are maybe less fortunate in the corridor, getting people more involved and engaged that way by using the resources. So I looked at it as—
Sounds like there must be some tie into education.
There's a lot of tie into education. This was really about how we can use the arts to prevent conflicts in the future, it's community development issues. So this was presented at the 52nd Commission on Social Development at the United Nations last week.
So the art is social development.
Art is part of social development.
Okay.
And we created a video for this panel discussion, which was screened at the UN. And perhaps in a minute or two we could take a look at
Well, I think this is a good place. I think you've all done a great job of giving us an idea of what MoCo is and what its mission is. Perhaps the video will remind us in a very clear way, and we'll come back and talk about that afterwards.
Great. Sounds good.
Welcome to the MoCo Arts Corridor, a 30-mile stretch of some of the finest art galleries, theaters, concert halls, and cultural exhibitions in the country. MoCo, Monmouth County, New Jersey. Rich with artistic expression. The home for nearly 2,000 artists, playwrights, musicians, painters, actors, dancers, and much, much more. From Matawan to Manasquan, each has a story to tell. And these are the stories of the corridor.
The purpose of the MoCo Arts Corridor partnership is really to brand the Bayshore and coastal region of Monmouth County as an arts destination of choice, and to get the word out that any town you go to, any stop along New Jersey Transit or the Garden State Parkway, you're going to find great art events and venues and festivals.
The MoCo Arts Corridor Partnership is just that. It is a partnership of the arts, business, local government, transportation, and tourism groups all coming together to leverage the economic power we know the arts can bring to a community.
I think Monmouth County stands over most counties because we've created that partnership. in many different areas. And this is just another area that we're building on because this is a perfect way to bring creative and bring business, bring tourism, bring it all together.
The tendency when you think of tourism is that people are transient. They come in, they enjoy, and they leave. Whereas what MoCo has done for us is that quite the opposite has happened. People come, they enjoy, and they stay.
We want to let people know what the rich resources are here in Monmouth County, all across the board, so that people will come here on a year-round basis to enjoy the arts and everything else we have here.
We have an area here in Monmouth County, Asbury Park, and I can see the change already happening there because of the strong interest and the opportunities being given to some of these young people who have the ability and have the talents but don't know exactly how to go about expressing themselves.
By offering young people musical education at an early age, it affords them the opportunity to learn to think creatively. Whether they become musicians or they become accountants, they are now learning how to think creatively, and that will help them for the rest of their lives. By being a part of the MoCo Arts Partnership, we are able to provide our young people with many more opportunities within the corridor.
We got to have the kids educated in their school system to be creative and see what the arts, see what the art culture is. And it's the youth that are going to come up, and if they're not educated on this and to see the importance, I think we're going to take many steps backwards.
The arts are really a way to bring people together across socioeconomic divides, geographic divides, cultural and ethnic divides.
The arts is certainly very good for community growth, for community stability, and for economic sustainability.
It's important to take a group like the arts because it's so viable and needed here in Monmouth County to expand it. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is if we educate the young people here and showcase the positive things that are happening on the Arts Council.
All the partners in the MoCo Corridor Initiative realize the importance of the arts that exist here in Monmouth County, and they want to share those arts and those resources with literally everyone around the world, globally. And we want people to come here to enjoy the arts, to experience them. And by doing that, people will be contributing to the economic stability of this region, creating a better place to live and to visit for everyone.
That video that we saw is really quite impressive, and I think we're probably all interested that it was shown at the United Nations. Tell us how it came about.
Well, like everything else connected with MoCo, it was a collaboration. The video itself was produced by Synergy Productions in Asbury Park. Susan Pellegrini is one of our MoCo partners, but it was also facilitated by the Monmouth County Board of Chosen Freeholders, who actually provided the resources so that we could put this video together and being able to show it not only at the UN, but it's all over the internet. We're putting it on just about every website we can think of.
So it's great publicity for the county.
We think this is not only good for the county, it's good for the arts, but it's good for the people throughout the county, because as I say, the purpose of the MoCo partnership is to leverage the economic power of the arts for the good of the county, to create jobs, to improve neighborhoods, to just facilitate the standard of living, if you will, in the county.
I think it brings about awareness of what we have to offer here in Monmouth County. I don't think people locally initially think, I should say, to go to the arts or think about it that much. We're bringing awareness that one of the wonderful things about living here in Monmouth County is our access to the arts. It could be because we have the overflow from New York City influence. We've always experienced it in the shadows in some way, culturally growing up around here, knowing that the arts were a big prominent feature in Manhattan and New York City, and that has always been part of who we are as a culture. So when people like to showcase their culture, ours is look at the wonderful arts we have to offer, look at the wonderful creativity and the creative people here, and how it's infused also with our education system, how we promote the arts and we find value in creative thinking.
And I think, oh, sorry, I was just going to say, I think that's one of the goals of MoCo. It's not just to get the word out to visitors and to bring them here, but it is to make the people who live here, who are here every day, realize how much art there is and how accessible it is, because there's a lot of community arts that's not expensive, it's in their backyard.
And it doesn't have to be intimidating.
Right.
It's something everybody can access. It shouldn't be an intimidation thing, like you have to go to New York to a high-end show and expense. It's you can participate on every level that you want to engage in the arts, and it's here in Monmouth.
And
Well, I
even
can remember Monmouth Arts doing a Stay Local campaign some years ago.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
I can also remember Monmouth Arts talking about how unique Monmouth County is nationally, that we're one of the top counties in the arts, right?
Absolutely.
We are.
Yeah.
And the year-round aspect that Joe and Mary Eileen talked about is very important. You know, people know Monmouth County, the Jersey Shore, for the shore.
Right.
But, you know, Monmouth County is so much more than the shore. And, you know, sometimes we like to say to tourists, you know, come for the beaches, stay for the art.
And New Jersey Transit being one of our major partners in the MoCo initiative, they are giving us $120,000 worth of pro bono marketing for this year.
Oh, that's great.
And so the MoCo mobile website, which is moconj.org, is going to be on their website. It's going to be in their social media. It's going to be on their hold message on the telephone, if people use telephones anymore to call up to find out about train
That's
times.
great. Now you're also passionate about this and have been so instrumental in making MoCo begin to work. I think probably people are a little bit interested in who you are. So why don't I ask each one of you just say a few words about how you came to this and help people understand who you are. Mary Eileen, let's start with you.
Well, I've been with Monmouth Arts for 16 years. And I actually have a museum background, come from a museum education background. Currently, I'm president of Art Pride New Jersey, which is a statewide arts advocacy organization. And I just like live and breathe arts. And, you know, I'm not an artist myself, but I enjoy it so much.
Okay. Joe?
I think it's interesting. We're both not artists. We don't claim to be artists, but we understand the value and appreciation of the arts. I've been working with the Monmouth County Planning Board, Division of Planning, for about 11 years. I'm a founding member of the Freehold Borough Arts Council. We started that organization in 2011 to bring arts awareness and downtown revitalization efforts into Freehold Borough. I'm excited about that. I'm a board member on the Center for Creative Placemaking, like I mentioned before, with Bloomfield College. I just think, as a planner, I couldn't imagine living in a place that wasn't accessible to the arts, that you can derive some sort of pleasure or joy. And when you see the younger people coming up, they're choosing to live in a place first and then deciding what they want to do as far as careers and jobs go. It's important that we have places to offer our up-and-coming people to identify with where they want to live. They want to find someplace hip, trendy, creative. I want to make sure that we have communities that offer those options. It's the way we're going to keep people closer to home and not lose them to places like New York City. And it's actually taking hold in Asbury Park. I hear a lot of conversations from the younger folks about wanting to hang out in Asbury and live in Asbury Park. So that's an example of what the arts are doing and the identity we're trying to convey here.
Jim, you may be a familiar voice to a lot of people.
Well,
Very familiar.
I'm also a non-artist in the traditional sense. I can't draw a straight line to save my life, but my background is television and radio, but I just love being with and around creative people. I'm vice president of the board of trustees at Two River Theater in Red Bank, and it's from that position that I took a look around Monmouth County and realized how rich the artistic resources are, and that's how I got to know these folks and just kept going, and I'm just thrilled to be a part of it.
And what I get from some of this that's kind of interesting is that it seems like you're talking about arts groups all coordinating and helping each other rather than competing, right?
And both large and small. So we have, you know, professional groups like Two River Theater, groups with professional staff, Count Basie Theater, Algonquin, Monmouth University Performing Arts Center, and then we have community groups. We have little local arts councils in many towns, and we're doing cross-marketing, we're doing group marketing, so we're doing a lot of things that have just come about because we've gotten together and talked, and some of the things don't even take money. We're just,
Sure.
you know,
Sounds
putting
like
it
you're saying
together.
that coordination and using social media is really important.
Social media is very important. And if I can just very quickly point out, even though there's cooperation and we're coming together, we have said in the MoCo partnership from the beginning, that doesn't mean our partners lose their autonomy. They are autonomous. They have their own projects and their own missions and their own goals. And we are careful not to intrude on that, but we are partners in the whole.
Absolutely.
Yep. And for one example of that is just Mary Eileen, whenever she's doing grant writing, calls upon me to see if I can assist with these types of projects. If they need any sort of professional or technical expertise from, I have wonderful staff people I can't brag enough about, and I have wonderful support from administration and the Board of Chosen Freeholders. We're there to help move this along, and if I can offer any sort of professional assistance, we've done that. And we've done that for many years together, helping each other get this off the ground.
Okay. And we're just about out of time, but I think we should note that we're showing on the screen the web address. What would people find if they went there? How can this be a resource for them?
Well, this is a very forward-looking website, moconj.org, developed by one of Mary Eileen's staff members, a very talented Tammy Lafferty is producing this website, and you'll see the partners. I mean, each partner has a link to their individual websites, activities. It's just a very robust website.
So it's
You
a great
can
way to go
see-
and find out what's going on.
Right, you can find out who's in the MoCo Arts Corridor, all the different arts groups that are there, events that are taking place. And if you want to get involved, if you are a creative business or an artist or an arts group, contact Monmouth Arts, and we'd love to have more people involved.
In the last minute that we have, what should we expect from MoCo in the,
We
in
got
the
some
future?
plans. Plans? We always have plans.
Well, let's see. We have the United Nations. What's
That's
next?
done.
Right.
Check that off the list.
Well, we
Hard to
have
top
the
that.
National
Yeah.
Arts, National Endowment for the Arts grant, so we're going to be, the marketing is going to be picking up, and I think you'll be hearing more about it, you'll be seeing more about it, and people will realize that the MoCo Arts Corridor is a great place to live, work, and visit.
And they should take pride in
Absolutely.
Monmouth
Being
County.
part of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the message.
That's the message. Well, I want to thank all of you, Joe, Mary Eileen, Jim. This has been very informative and very exciting, and I think something that everyone should be paying some attention to and find the benefits of the arts in Monmouth County. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you for listening.